Hello, beautiful people. How y'all doing? Welcome to my very first book haul. Now, if you know me, you know I am a proud library card holder. I love the library. I get all my books from the library. I hardly ever buy books. It's very rare. But in light of all of the events that are going on in the world around us, and with businesses closing and libraries closing, I've had to find new ways to get my hands on books. And then on top of that, I have had a strong desire to support small local bookstores and businesses, as well as support authors. So in other words, I went on a large book buying binge and it was fabulous. I absolutely enjoyed it. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the books I recently acquired. So without further ado, the first book that I bought was Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. This is an adult gothic mystery historical fiction novel. We are following Bridie Devine, I believe, who is this female detective extraordinaire, and she is put on a case to solve the disappearance of Christabel, who is this little girl who has supernatural powers. And along the way, Bridie starts to dig up very mysterious things about her own past. We are also introduced to a variety of very intriguing characters along the way. I think there's like an apothecary, as well as a group of collectors who trade curiosities and things in jars. And I also think there's a ghost in this book. I'm not sure in the synopsis if that is metaphorical or literal. I'm hoping it's literal because I absolutely love all stories that have to do with ghosts. So we'll see. I'm hoping to get to this book sometime in the summer. And the second book that I picked up is kind of a classic in the online fantasy community. I hear about it all the time, and it was on sale at one of the online bookstores that I was checking out, so I had to go for it, and that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book in the Ancestor series, I believe it's called, and this is essentially about assassin nuns. That's kind of all I know, but it sounds totally badass and right up my alley. It reminds me a lot of Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, and I love Nevernight. I haven't finished the series yet, but the first book I thoroughly enjoyed, so I feel like I'm gonna enjoy this one as well. It'll be a while, I think, before I get to this book, just because I think I need to finish Nevernight so I don't get too confused, but I finally am in possession of it, and it's always been on my TBR for quite some time now, so happy to finally own it. The next book I hauled is a book that everybody knows about, and that is Circe by Madeline Miller. I feel like I am the last person on earth to finally read this book. I know it is a favorite for a lot of people. I also know it was the 2018 Goodreads Award winner, and this is a retelling of Greek mythology. We are following none other than Circe, who is this very powerful goddess who has been, I guess, sent to live on this abandoned island where she just practices magic all day, and she befriends wild animals, and she picks herbs, and she feeds her pigs, and it's pretty all hunky-dory, until she eventually becomes intertwined with Odysseus, who is just kind of on his Odyssey journey, and that's pretty much all I know. But like I said, I know a lot of people really enjoy it. I hear it's very thought-provoking, a lot of feminist themes woven throughout, so I am interested and hoping to get to this, even though, like I said, I am so late to this party. Okay, so the next book on my list is probably the book I am most pumped and hyped over, and I wasn't going to buy it at first. I went back and forth. I like put it into my basket, and then I took it out of my basket, and I went back and forth, and I was like, you know what? Just take the leap, treat yourself. It's a little more expensive than the other ones, and I just went for it, and then as soon as it arrived, I was so proud of myself for just going for it. And that is Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I have no idea what this book is about, but I hear about it constantly. Book Twitter is blowing up over it, and everyone in my kind of bookish community seems to have really enjoyed this, even crying at certain parts, so I gotta get in on this. I have yet to read anything by Sarah J. Maas, but I know a lot of people really enjoy her Throne of Glass series. I know she's an incredible author, and so I finally want to get in on her works, so I thought this would be the perfect way to jump in and start right from the beginning with a new series. What I have gathered thus far about this book is that there are angels and demons and shapeshifters and humans and fae involved. And if we've learned anything from my journey with the Folk of the Air series, is that I love a good fae story. So I'm already quite intrigued. I know there's also a revenge plot, maybe, like a little mystery cat and mouse chase, as well as dead parents. I don't know, but it sounds really great, and like I said, this is the book I am most hyped about. I'm hoping to read it next month in June during my birthday month, because I have a feeling I am just going to love this book. Now, another book I'm really hoping to get to in the month of June is actually a classic, and that is Emma by Jane Austen. Now, I feel like Emma is one of those books or those stories we kind of know about, but it's definitely not in the spotlight. I feel like it's one of Jane Austen's lesser known books, but I just saw that there is a film adaptation that already came out for this book, and it looks really fun and funny, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to read the book first and then watch the movie. And then this also ties into one of my 2020 reading resolutions, which is to read more classics. Just remember in high school, I could not stand classics. And I really, now at the tender age of 25, I want to try these books again and see if I can handle them and truly appreciate them. So that mood is kind of come and go, and I feel it coming on in the summertime, so I gotta take advantage of it, and hopefully I will really enjoy Emma. The next two books on my list were actually gifted to me by my dad from his own personal library, so thanks, Dad, shout out to you. And the first book he gifted me was The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, I believe. So this is definitely an adult book. It is a historical nonfiction novel that thrusts us into the Gilded Age of the United States in the late 1800s in Chicago, and we are following two very different men. One of them is a very successful and talented architect, and he is overseeing and sort of event planning this huge fair that is going to be held in Chicago. And then the other guy we are following is a serial killer, and he is using this fair that they are putting on in Chicago as a way to lure all of his victims. And I've heard that this story is very gripping and fascinating and creepy, but also grotesque, and you can't look away, and I heard it's just expertly done. Reagan from the Peruse Project really loves this book, and I feel like she and I have very similar reading tastes. Tying into yet another reading resolution for 2020, I wanted to read at least one nonfiction book, so perhaps this will be that one nonfiction book. We'll see. And the second book that my dad gifted me was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is an adult thriller slash mystery novel. We are following this criminal psychotherapist who becomes obsessed with this particular case about a woman who is just a regular, normal woman. I think she's like a painter, and one day or one night she decides she's gonna shoot her husband in the face like 5 times, and after doing so she becomes a total mute and no one can get her to say a single word. So this criminal psychotherapist, he becomes super involved in the case and he believes he can crack it. I heard a lot of mixed reviews about this one. Some people really like it, but other people said they could see the ending from like a mile away. That, or they thought the ending was not very original, not very unique, and was pretty like plain Jane. Personally, I don't read a lot of mystery or thriller novels, so I feel like this one has a lot of potential to like knock my socks off and like throw me a curveball. So we'll see. I have to be in the right mood for this, I feel. This could potentially be like a good Halloween read. I don't know, like I said. We'll see. And the final two books I'm going to be discussing are actually from a book subscription service. I know, I'm pretty wild and crazy. It's not like me at all. But I saved up enough money and I really wanted to try this out and see if it's for me. So I ended up going with Book of the Month subscription service. And so for the month of April, I ended up choosing The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is giving me huge Agatha Christie vibes. So essentially this is the story of a very beautiful and handsome, successful couple that decide to get married on a remote island, and then there is murder, and everyone is a suspect and everyone has a motive and everyone is accusing everybody else. It just sounds like a really great fun time, and I feel like this is the perfect read for a cold, cloudy, rainy day. I remember reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that was heavily inspired by Agatha Christie and was very much like The Game of Clue, and I loved that book, so I feel like it just makes sense that I would like this too, potentially. And the final book I grabbed was Happy and You Know It by Laura Hankin. This was one of the books that was offered for the month of May, and this one really fascinated me and roped me in. This is an adult fiction novel. It's about a struggling artist who becomes a musician for this rich toddlers playgroup. So she essentially works as like a Barney or one of the Wiggles for rich toddlers, and she becomes really good friends and eventually becomes really intertwined, entangled with all of the bougie rich New York City moms that she works for. And apparently these really gorgeous, successful women also have really dark secrets and scandals, and there's a lot of drama. This is marketed as sort of like a dark comedy, a suspenseful dark comedy, which sounds sounds like it has the potential to be a really awesome page turner. So I think it'll be quite unlike anything I have ever read before. And actually, speaking of book of the month, I am planning on doing a reading vlog for these two books, as well as a review of the book of the month subscription service. If you're like me, you're very stingy with your money, you really want to make sure that you're putting your money towards subscription services or really anything that is going to be worth your time and will benefit you. So hopefully that video can help people out there who are thinking about doing book of the month but just aren't really sure if it's worth their time or money. I'll let you guys know what my experience is like ordering through their website and with their company, as well as what I think of these two books. And well, you guys, I gotta say, taking the time to shop online and buy books to my heart's content has been a really fun experience. Will I go back to only using the library once this is all over and said and done? You know, probably. But I think I will take the time every so often to go buy myself some books, because that dopamine hit is so good and it's just a lot of fun. And it's really cool to own books too. In fact, I almost have enough to warrant buying a small bookcase, and that is pretty exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are having a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. Happy reading, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!